we are going to get started. I'm going to try to keep my voice tame and safe because I missed the first few days of this week with a cold, and it's fitting that tonight's topic is happiness and joy, the two things that escape me the most when I have any kind of sickness. I am such a baby when I'm sick. I'm unable to be anything other than happy when I'm not sick. But if I'm sick or if it's cold out, then I don't like it. But I'm going to talk about a difference between contentment kind of happiness, joy, which is in there or can be in there, and excitement. So usually when people, especially in our society, hear happiness, joy, what they're really thinking is excitement. I'm like this and nothing has ever been better, and I'm basically on Coke right now, like everything is so exciting. Wow. I've never done Coke, so I don't know how that is. But that is not, which might surprise you, the kind of happiness that I'm talking about and that we're interested in getting. Meditation will not really lead you to that level of energetic excitement. You're about to jump out of a plane. It is contentment. And if you were to chart excitement goes like this. And then it must also go like this, right? The bigger the excitement, the bigger the crash after. This is absolutely this is physics in our life and our personality. It is the higher it goes up, the further down it's going to crash. Contentment was like this. So if we look at like the average of this, you end up like this. Contentment is like this. So I'm good. I'm not exactly neutral. Everything is meh. I'm also not way down here, but I'm also not way up here. It's just everything's good. And contentment is sustainable. Contentment is something that we can really create for ourselves. Excitement is something that we can also create for ourselves, but you cannot create a sustained excitement. Now, I have to be excited when I teach class unless I have a cold or something, and then I can just be content when I'm teaching class. But that's because there is an amount of energy that we really need to be expending when we're in class. We're trying to get a workout. We're trying to, make it realistic. We've got to bring that energy. And there is a different kind of energy with meditation, with contentment. So I want to talk about one of the most obvious and sincere and consistent sources of joy and happiness in my life right now, which is my nephew. 7-8 months ago now, my nephew Emerson was born, and he is incredibly cute. He is like so round, and he's a big baby. He was like 9.5 pounds when he was born, and he is just like, he smiles constantly. And he's now like laughing. And the other day I went over to see him, and I walked in the door and he went like this. And he's never waved at anybody before. And I don't know if this is really a wave. He showed me like the number 4, but he did this. And ever since he's been like waving to people. And just that was like so, it melted me. But Emerson, I mean, his life is on the one hand kind of amazing because all he has to do is hang out and like play with toys and get fed food. But also His life is messed up. He's like imprisoned in a playpen most of his life. He doesn't get to choose what he eats at all. And he ends up with food all over him every time he eats, which also kind of sucks. He doesn't get to watch TV. His parents literally don't let him watch TV. When the TV's on, they go like this so that his eyes can't see the screen. And that TV is very important to me. So I can't even imagine what it's like for him. But nevertheless, he is just happy and joyful most of the time. He also gets real pissy sometimes, but most of the time I see him, he is happy and joyful. And this is because of his attitude. He has the perfect beginner's mind. And this is what we want to have in our practice. This is what we want to cultivate through our meditation practice, beginner's mind. Beginner's mind is what allows us to be interested by the breath in meditation. Beginner's mind is like, what's this breath? Ooh, this is really nice. I can feel it coming in. I can feel it going out. There's nothing more, interesting or exciting that I could be doing right now than this, breathing. And we cultivate it in our martial arts practice. You see this punch. If you think to yourself, I already know how to do a front punch, then you've killed the possibility of enjoying it. You've killed the possibility of learning something new right now. But if you see this and you say, what's this? This is a punch. Ooh, exciting. What am I supposed to hit with? Oh, the top two knuckles, you say. Well, let me get right on that. And everything is just like exciting and new. If we can be as an infant in our everyday life, of course in meditation, of course in our martial arts practice, but in anything that we do, now we are constantly inviting this joy and happiness, and get that is kind of distinct from being content, because a baby can surely be content, but it doesn't usually last. So we want the best of all worlds, right? We want to have a beginner's mind and be interested in each moment, as simple and as mundane as it might be, just a breath. But we also want the sustainability of that contentment, where we notice as it starts to get away from us in either direction, and we're just like, I don't need that kind of excitement right now. I'm just going to be here, be present. So you notice that even in like pop culture, when you see a Zen master or a martial arts master or a meditation master, somebody who is being portrayed, they're not usually bouncing off the walls with excitement. They have this kind of stoicism, this kind of understated presence, yet is still very much present in like the fullest sense of that. And so it's not just a myth. It is something that is there for all of us when we choose to be that way. We can choose to be totally present and just let the moment fill us up. So when we meditate, we're going to do a longer meditation tonight. I'm going to save my voice a little bit, but take this super simple concept. It does not need to be complicated. Meditation, it is very tempting to try to throw all kinds of different techniques and think about, I'm going to visualize this and I'm going to say this mantra and I'm going to do this, do that, breathing technique. All that is fine, but at the end of the day, largely unnecessary. What we're trying to do is find any way to connect to this breath in this moment. And that's it. So imagine you're not just an infant, but imagine that you are just being born and you're taking your first breath. Now, of course, this is kind of a traumatic thing and like there's blood all over you and a doctor's probably spanking you and whatever, but let's take all that out of it and just imagine that this is your first breath that you have ever taken. You don't even have to know that if I don't breathe, I'm going to die. That's another way of being interested by the breath. But as an aside, there's a well-known saying, when you're struggling with meditation, you're having a hard time being interested by the breath, just go have somebody hold your head underwater, like in the ocean, for about a minute, and then see how interested in the breath you will become. It will be the most amazing feeling that you'll ever have to be able to take that breath again. So in meditation, you can basically go at it like that. This is the first breath that I've ever taken. How magnificent, how interesting and beautiful, and what a full experience this is. Rather than I'm breathing, I do that all day long. Let me start thinking about doing my taxes or whatever other nonsense your brain goes to. So this is another way of looking at like how the breath is just like the perfect anchor for us, because it's not super exciting, it's not super complicated, it doesn't have to excite us, it just brings us to the present. So the breath is it. It's the only thing that exists for us. It's the only thing that we need in meditation. And as we go deeper into meditation, there is a happiness. First, we get to peace or calm, peace, and then underlying all of that is joy, a bliss that just kind of comes up from it. And you might get it because you are just so happy to be breathing. You might get it because you're kind of getting more in touch with what is your deepest, highest self, which really does have joy and happiness. But whatever you experience in meditation is great. So also don't get attached to that. If you're sitting and meditating and you're like, how come I'm not just so happy right now? And how come I don't have so much joy by sitting here and breathing? That's going to give you other things to think about which are unnecessary. You're just sitting, you're just breathing. And any kind of emotional state, any kind of searching for enlightenment or anything else is really extra and is really unnecessary. So just sit comfortably. You can hit the lights, man. So, as we do our longer meditation, good posture is very important. You're not going to sit on that. Feeling very flexible tonight? Up to you. So make sure that your knees are even with or below your hips. If your knees stick up, then your legs will fall asleep. Make sure your back is straight, shoulders rolled back, and your hands at your hips so that you're not slouching. Chin parallel to the ground. Close eyes. Spine straight, eyes upturned to the point between your eyebrows. Relax. Watch the breath. Let go of all thoughts, worries, and cares. We will begin with a short breathing exercise. We'll do deep diaphragmatic breathing, and we're going to hold it at the top for the same amount of time that we breathe in for. So we're going to do like an inverted triangle breath. Start with all the breath out. Breathe in through the nose. Hold it at the top. And out. A little bit longer. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. 2 more. In. Hold. Out. Last one. Hold. Out. Finish with a double exhalation. Let the breath come in and let the breath go out. Feel the breath as if it's for the first time. You are wrapped in attention with that breath. Your mind wanders to something else. And come right back to the breath. Let it fill your consciousness wholly.